Hello, good morning or good afternoon, depending where you are. Nice to see you here today. Hello, hello. So please do say hi in the comments, in the chat, and let me know where you are in the world. And are you taking your exam soon? Let me know. Hi, Aviana. Hi, Zahra in Iran. Hi, Ahmed. Hello. Okay, great. Hello. Hi. Hi, Hinas. Drulas. Nice to see you all here today. I hope you are well. Okay, so what we're going to do today is we're going to look at OET speaking, and specifically we're going to look at giving advice in the OET role play. Before we start, just let me tell you a little bit about some of the things we've got available for you to help you with your OET study. We've got Reach OET Nursing and Medicine, depending if you're a nurse or doctor. We've got an OET writing correction service with full feedback from a teacher. And of course, we've got OET practice tests as well available on our website. The website is there on the screen now, specialistlanguagecourses.com. Okay, so let's have a little look. Let me just tell you a little bit more about what is on our course. So on our courses, on the Reach OETB course, we do reading, listening, speaking, and writing, of course. You have guided practice in the skills and strategies for the exam, vocabulary and grammar activities as well. There's also access to our video tutorial library, which you can access at any time, any place. 4 live lessons a week with a teacher as well, and 2 full practice tests. So it's really the complete package, and it's also available on your mobile. So it's mobile friendly. So you can do it anywhere you want, on the bus on the way to work, wherever. So okay, problem with the microphone. Okay, let me have a little look. Let's see. Is this any better? There's an issue with the microphone. Okay, just let me know how it's going. I'll put my headset on and see if that makes a difference. Take out the other earphone. The other microphone's gone. Okay, so hopefully this is better. So let's have a little look. So we're going to look at language for giving advice, when you should give advice, and how you can give advice. Okay, I'm pleased it's much better. So, what phrases do you know for giving advice? Please write your ideas in the comments. What phrases? Oh, I'm very sorry about the audio. I'm not sure what's going on. We'll just do our best. Okay, so yeah, let me know in the chat. Okay, I'd like to recommend, yep, some good ideas here. Okay, some great ideas coming through here. Okay, so there are different levels of advice from suggestion to strong advice. So suggestion, for example, it would be better to cut down the amount of caffeine you drink. Advice, try to cut down on how much caffeine you drink. And strong advice, it's vital that you use this cream for flare-ups. So these are some different levels of advice. And there are lots and lots of phrases that you can use for giving advice. Here are some of them. And we've got lots of great suggestions in the comments. So let's think about suggestions now. I would like you to let me know the numbers, which 3 phrases from here can we use for suggestions? Let me know in the comments. Okay, lots of great ideas coming through. So lots of you putting 10, which is a question. Have you thought about? Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, let's have a little look. So I've got here, I suggest it would be better to. Have you thought about? Yeah, so these are suggestions. We don't want to use strongly because it's just a suggestion. These are good ideas. We're not saying you have to do this. Okay. Now let's look at advice. So a little bit stronger than just suggesting it's a good idea. Well, a little bit more than just a suggestion. Which 3 phrases could you add to the list here for advice? Let me know the numbers in the chat. Okay, so these are the 3 that I would suggest. So try to, I recommend, you should, and it's a good idea. Okay, so these are suggestions, advice. And then we've got strong advice is the last 3. So it's a bit stronger, things that are really important to do. So it's important to, it's essential that, it's vital that you. So here they all are on the screen. Okay, so there's lots of phrases to use. Make sure you have 3 or 4 that you use well. It's a good idea to practice using the phrases in different contexts. Write example sentences, say example sentences so that you know how they're used. You've practiced it so that you do it naturally and confidently. So here's an activity to do that. I would like you to complete the sentences with an appropriate phrase, A, B, C, or D. So let me know the number letter combinations in the comments, please. How would you complete these sentences? Okay, got some ideas coming through. Think about number one. Okay, you don't want the ice pack to touch your skin because you might get an ice burn. So really think about number one. You don't want to. So you need a negative for number one. Okay, good ideas coming through. Yeah, one's probably not going to be C. Yes, it's going to be B. Absolutely. Yes. Montilano on Facebook. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, Merin on YouTube. Yeah, Albert. Great. Okay, so let's look at the answers. So it's important not to let the ice pack touch your skin or you may burn your skin. It's a good idea to put your foot on a pillow to reduce swelling around your ankle. I mean, you could use try to here as well. Okay. Try to do your ankle exercises every day after using ice packs to stop your ankle stiffness. And I know it's difficult to remember, but it's essential that you put the moisturizing cream several times a day. So this one is a little slightly stronger advice here. Great. So here are some common mistakes that my students often make when giving advice. Can you spot the mistake in each sentence? Let me know what you think in the chat or the comments. What do you think? What are the errors? All right, so let's go through them now. So I advise you to, not quite right. It should be I advise you to. So advice with a s sound is the noun. So you give advice. But to advise someone is a z sound and the spelling is with an S. So that's the error there. Number two, I recommend you to do more exercise. It's I recommend that you do more exercise. We don't recommend you, recommend him. Yeah. It's vital that you to use the cream. No to. So it's vital that you, and then the verb. And you had better reduce the amount of alcohol you drink. This is a bit like telling them off, you had better do this or else. It's a little bit threatening, warning type thing. So I think it would be better is a better way to give that advice. All right. So when do you need to give advice in the OET role play? So can you tell me what topics might you give advice about in the OET speaking role play? Let me know your ideas in the comments. Yeah, what topics? What might you give advice about to a patient? Okay. Yes, absolutely. So diet is a common one that's coming through here. Lifestyle, yes, winter. Lifestyle is definitely one. So lifestyle in general could be diet, alcohol, exercise, etc. Risk factors, medications, yes, smoking. Lots of you putting exercise in there as well. Great ideas, everybody. So yeah, so lifestyle changes is often what you give advice about. Diet, exercise, smoking, alcohol, for example. How to manage a condition So skin care for eczema, inhalers for asthma, post-discharge or treatment care, so how to change dressings, etc., or avoiding falls, flare-ups, infections, etc. So it's really important that you use the information provided on the role card. This is one from nursing, but it's the same for medicine. So see here, we've got make recommendations and we've got some information in brackets. Use that. That's the advice to give. The same here, advise patient to attend, and then you've got weekly visit exercises, etc. Use that information. So let's move on to how to give advice. So you need to make sure you give the advice that the patient needs. So ask questions first. For example, if the role card says give advice on lifestyle changes, diet and exercise, you should find out about their current habits first. What questions could you ask? Let me know in the comments. Okay. All right. So you could say, could you tell me a bit about your diet? How much exercise do you usually do? Then use the information they provide to give advice tailored to the patient. Once you have the information you need, you can then give appropriate advice. First, you should signpost the change in topic and announce what you're about to say. For example, let me explain how you can manage your wound at home. There are some things you can do to reduce the risk of having another fall. Then explain using linking expressions and the rule of three. So the rule of three is no more than 3 pieces of information in one chunk. When you finish giving advice, you need to check that the patient understands or is agreeing to follow your advice. What could you say? Okay, yes. Do you think you can do that? That's great. How does that sound? Great ideas, yes. So do you think you can manage that? How do you feel about that? Would you be willing to try that? Because what you want to do is to get them to agree to do it, or that they can, tell you that, yeah, I'll do that. Absolutely. Things like, are you getting my point? Not quite appropriate here. Okay. Are you following me? Also not the best ones to use. Okay. You want to get them to agree or find out how they feel about following the advice. Okay. So let's look at the steps, how to give advice. So step 1, find out information. Step 2, signpost that you're going to give some advice. Step 3, explain your advice using linkers and the rule of 3. And step 4, pause and confirm or encourage the patient to respond. This is chunking and checking. Okay, so it's chunks of information and then check. So let's look at that in context. So we've got here, find out information. So could you tell me what you know about managing eczema? The patient says, I don't really have any idea. I'm a bit worried. That's completely understandable. So now we're signposting. Let me explain how you can look after your son's skin at home. Okay, thanks. Now we're going to explain using the linkers, rule of 3, and we're going to pause and encourage the patient to respond. So firstly, it's really important to keep his skin moisturized. One thing which might help is making sure he's not too hot and not too cold, okay? Also, it's a good idea to dress him in loose cotton clothing so the skin can breathe. Pause. Do you think you can manage that? So we often have to deal with reluctant patients, or maybe they're sensitive topics, or they've got lots and lots of concerns. So they might be a little bit resistant to your advice. So they will often be reluctant. For example, a patient might say they don't have time to exercise or don't like it. So what could you say? What could you say? You've given advice, you need to do more exercise. It would be a good idea if you could increase your exercise. And they say, no, I don't have time to exercise. I don't like it. What could you say? Let me know in the comments. Mm-hmm. Okay, but they're saying, I don't want to. Yes, I think we've got some coming through here. Absolutely. I know. I understand. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So I understand you're busy, but it's really important that you do at least some exercise each week. Do you think you could start by walking 10 minutes after work? So here we've used empathy. We're then stressing the importance and then suggesting something manageable. Yeah, so we're trying to get the patient on board. Okay, so very important, empathy first, then stress the importance, and then perhaps suggest something manageable. So let's do a little bit of practice before we finish the session. So here are some situations. A patient should cut down or give up smoking, and a parent who is caring for a child with eczema and needs to use unperfumed soap. What advice could you give to a patient or the parent in these situations? Let me know your ideas in the comments, please. What advice could you give? Okay, great. Yeah, really good to do some empathy first. Yeah, I understand it's difficult, but some good ideas coming through. So here's one example. I know it's difficult, but it's a good idea if you cut down gradually. Have you thought about joining a quit smoking program to help? Or here, it's better to use unperfumed soaps if you have a skin condition like eczema. It will help reduce itchiness. These are just some examples of many things you could say in these situations. Okay? We also need to make sure we're giving appropriate advice, so making sure we're using the right language. So look at these pairs of sentences and let me know for each one, numbers 1, 2, and 3, which phrase is more appropriate, A or B? Let me know in the chat. in the comments, please. Okay, yeah. Yep. Some good ideas coming through. 2A, lots of you saying, yeah. 1B, great. Okay, let's take a look. So the better ones here. So for number 1, B is better. Must is too direct, it's too strong, and it's a little bit rude. So B is much more polite, and it's still strong. Yeah. Number 2, A is better, not B. B is a little bit kind of judgmental. If you don't reduce the amount of alcohol you drink, you're putting yourself at risk of heart disease. So it is, it's not the best way to get them to reduce it. Yeah. So perhaps just give them the facts. It's very important that you do this and then explain why. With high alcohol intake, there's a risk of heart disease, rather than saying you are going to make yourself have heart disease. Yeah. Just give them the facts. And then for number 3, B is better. Remember what I said before? You had better is kind of a bit threatening. So best not to use that phrase. So make sure your advice is not judgmental and does not sound threatening. So let's look at how we can practice. So it's a good idea to build up a bank of useful phrases. Write lots of example sentences in different contexts, and don't just write them, say them as well. Yeah, practice doing it. Maybe work with a partner, okay, and write down a few things that you need recommended, and maybe, person A will just say reduce alcohol intake, and your partner will say it's really important that so you can say the topic, and then your partner has to give advice, and then they say a topic and your partner has to give advice. Okay, so practice speaking as well. Record yourself if you don't have a study buddy and analyze how well you did. Yeah, so here are some examples. Yeah, so you can give advice. You could give advice to a patient on how to lose weight. Give advice to a patient who has insomnia. Give advice to an elderly patient who's worried about having a fall. So those are just some topics that could come up in the OET exam. Okay. So my top tips: use the information provided on the roll card. Use appropriate phrases. Use signposting and linking. Check they are willing to comply, or how they feel about it at the end. Okay. Any questions, please let me know in the chat. I'm very sorry about my voice not being so clear today. Any questions? So while you're writing your questions, let me just remind you of our courses. We've got Reach OETB, both nursing and medicine. We've got our OET Writing Correction Service and our OET Practice Test. We've got several that you can buy. Do go to our website, specialistlanguagecourses.com. The website's there on the screen now. Here is some of the great feedback we've got from the Writing Correction Service, Reach OETB, and also our one-to-one coaching. So do please check us out on our website and see how we can help you. Yeah, specialistlanguagecourses.com. Okay, but follow us on YouTube if you're not already. We've got loads of tips and strategies to help you with your OET. Follow us on social media. I think we're now on TikTok as well. So we hope to see you there. So All right. Are there any questions before we go? Uh-huh. Okay, I've got a question from Sarah Moll. How can we ask permission before giving advice? Very good question. It would be a good idea. I would say if you want to give advice, you could ask a question first. So I'd like to give you some advice on how we can reduce your blood pressure. Is that okay? Yeah, so it's another way of signposting. Yeah. Or do you mind if we talk about how we can reduce, do you mind if I give you some advice on how we can reduce your cholesterol? So that's a good idea to introduce, to get permission before giving advice. Okay, a few other questions. How to address a drunken bystander waiting for a consultation? That's unlikely to happen in the OET exam. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Useful phrases for giving advice. We've just done that. If you go back and watch the live video from the start, there are loads of phrases there. Is there any app? Pooja, we have an app. Yes, it's Magnet, so you can download and use our courses on your device. It's an app that you can use. Okay, great. All right. Well, that's it from us. So thank you very much for joining me today. If you're taking your exam this weekend, good luck. Stay focused. We'll be back with our next live very soon. Otherwise, I'll see you on YouTube. I'm on there. We do a live Q&A at the last Wednesday of every month at 12 o'clock UK time. That's on SLC's YouTube channel. So that's OET SLC. I hope to see some of you there. Have a great rest of your week. Bye, everybody.